Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And did you know that the holes in their bums are for your thumbs?
For the wrestler toys, not real wrestlers, yeah?
You're thumbing and bumming, mate.
And this is the news! I'm sorry, Jesus. I've been watching too much Bugenhagen.
Yes, you have.
If you don't like Eric Bugenhagen, chances are we don't care for you as a person.
And you probably belong on a list of perverts.
Right, let's start ourselves off with the shocking news that Kenny Omega has signed for AEW.
What?
The big announcement was made as part of the Double or Nothing ticket announcement party last night in America, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes, it was. Las Vegas.
In Las Vegas. Yes, as we all anticipated, the big tease announcement was their best mate, Kenny Omega, being announced as part of AEW. Not only that, but he is Executive Vice President, just like Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks. Not a surprise, this, but still fantastic news for AEW.
Shock of all shocks, Kenny Omega is in AEW. I think we probably all expected this. It's been on the cards. I think when he initially said that I'm done with New Japan and blah, 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 there were a lot of signs that this was a work and that maybe he'd come back to the promotion, but obviously that is now not the case. He has confirmed himself a full-time roster member. Now, whether or not this means his contract allows him to compete with New Japan in the future, like Chris Jericho's does, remains to be seen. We don't know that yet, but for now it looks like everything that went down in January was not a work. He is there, he is an executive and a wrestler, and this is a huge get.
It's a huge get, not just for AEW to have obviously a phenomenal wrestler like himself on their books, but also as a catalyst for making them being able to work with someone like New Japan. That's the guy you want.
Yeah.
If you can sit there and go, look, we've got Kenny Omega. If you want to let us borrow some of your New Japan guys for the odd show, then you're going to have to...
Yeah, there's a lot of negotiations to be done there. Like, I think regarding that relationship, it's something that I don't think we'll see for a while. But New Japan will obviously be desperate to use a guy like Kenny Omega, who has been their top foreign character for several years now. He was really elevated when Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles left. He became this genuine money-drawing star. He will be a big loss for them, particularly in the US. Now, in Japan, without Kenny Omega, say they don't get hold of him, I think they'll be absolutely fine. Their domestic business is tremendous. But abroad, it's going to be a big hit. Either way, though, like, you look at the roster now, Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega, that's two genuine stars. It's looking very promising. They obviously need a few more. There's a lot of bridges to cross before we can say that All Elite Wrestling is going to be a success, but that's not a bad couple of main eventers, is it?
Yeah, exactly. People in the comment section will be like, what about the shows? Or what about the TV deals? But on paper, as you say, and that's all we can judge this on right now,
yeah.
On paper, they are building a phenomenal promotion. And for people moaning that we're hyping them up too much, look, any competition for WWE is good, and wrestling right now is bloody brilliant. So just enjoy it.
Like, I don't want to go off on one, but I don't understand, like, the level of just kind of disgust at praise and stuff. Like, this is exciting for everyone. Even if you're only a WWE fan, even if you're only interested in WWE, you don't watch anything else, this is good for you as well, because competition sharpens competition, iron sharpens iron. This is going to make WWE better, because if All Elite Wrestling go ahead and get a TV deal now, well, they have to start adjusting their practices. I'm not saying it's going to be another Monday Night Wars, because clearly it is not.
Tuesday Night Dynamite.
Maybe, but WWE are going to have to change things up now. They're going to have to switch their storytelling methods if AEW becomes a threat. But anyway, yeah, Kenny Omega's here. It's pretty good.
Boog screws.
Boog screws. He is not the only new signing that AEW confirmed last night, Paul. They have 8 other names, and I've got them all listed here. So, we have Joshi Legend Aja Kong. We have Kylie Ray, an independent wrestler who's primarily working out of AEW in Chicago. We have Tokyo Joshi Pros, Yuka Sakazaki. We have Nyla Rose, another women's wrestler with experience in Japan. We have Sunny Kiss. We have the AAA Cruiserweight Champion Sammy Guevara. And perhaps the biggest names of this batch, not named Kenny Omega. As expected, we have the Best Friends tag team of Chucky T and Trent Beretta. Very exciting crop of wrestlers there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, some of those names will be familiar to you, some of those names you may not know. But if, like myself, you're slightly clueless on a few of those names, go and look on Twitter today, just search for their names, because the amount of people sharing clips and GIFs has just got me so excited.
Yeah, I mean, the two names that I'm not so familiar with myself are Nyla Rose and Sunny Kiss, but I'm looking forward to certainly looking into them. Best Friends are a great tag team, bags of fun, incredible Twitter game, the best in the business. Sorry, Becky Lynch, it's kind of true. Aja Kong's a legend, maybe not quite the wrestler she was, but she was a star for All Japan Women's Pro Wrestling back in the 90s, in the heyday when that promotion was drawing tens of thousands of fans. And she was even in the WWF for a kind of crappy wee run in the 90s as well. But yeah, this is a really talented group. Sammy Guevara's another guy, man. He just carries himself like the biggest prick in the room. He's an elite high flyer, kind of an indie spot monkey kind of guy, but very young. I think he's in his early 20s. Lots of potential for growth. Similar personality to MJF, but somehow even more obnoxious. I'm really excited for this group of wrestlers coming together. Now, they're nowhere near a complete talent pool yet, but we're looking at about 20 to 30 contracted employees now. Obviously adding to the likes of Cody, Pac, Hangman Page, Shima, all these other great guys. Man, this roster's looking really exciting. They maybe need a couple of big level stars, perhaps, to go with Kenny and Jericho, but these new guys, man.
And a big name being teased to join AEW, which we'll tell you about in just a second. Before we get to that, though, the Double or Nothing card looks like it's coming together. May 25th is when it all goes down. A couple of confirmed matches on there. We, of course, have the highly anticipated match between Hangman Page and Pac. That was built more last night.
Oh, yeah.
With Hangman. We'll talk about what actually happened, but I did like Hangman Page having a pop of Pac for filming in portrait mode, which is something I would do. I get really angry when people do that.
Me too.
But the rest, that card's looking great already.
It's looking tremendous. I mean, the two confirmed matches at the moment are Pac versus Hangman Page, which will be a banger, by the way. That was set up. Hangman Page was cutting a promo on the podium. Pac interrupted him with this horrible but amazing selfie promo shot in portrait mode, as we said. The other confirmed match at the moment is SCU, that being Christopher Daniels, Scorpio Sky, and Frankie Kazarian versus Japanese legend Shima and two of his Oriental Wrestling Entertainment trainees. Wait till you see these guys. They are phenomenal acrobats. They're like something out of the Olympics. They're insane. Now, the other matches that haven't been confirmed but look very likely are Nyla Rose versus Kylie Ray in the women's division. We also have the Young Bucks
versus the Lucha Brothers.
Versus the goddamn Lucha Brothers. How good is that going to be? Pentagon Jr. gave, I think it was Matt Jackson, a goddamn pile driver on the stage last night. Absurd. That's going to be mental. And of course, the probable main event.
Yeah.
Kenny Omega and Chris Jericho too. The first match was amazing. This card looks great.
Yeah.
Like, All In was a very good wrestling show. It was fun, but it was very much kind of like a continuation of what happens on Being the Elite. This, more than anything else, feels just like a great wrestling card.
Yeah, All In was, I don't want to put it down at all, but it was a bit of a niche pay-per-view.
It was
a one-off,
really,
like, if you know what you're watching, great. If you didn't, then there was still some entertaining matches. Yeah. This looks like, if you're a fan, a bit like myself, that are mainly WWE, and you're a bit skeptical about the future for AEW and TV and what have you, give this pay-per-view a chance and you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, exactly. And do you want to know the most exciting thing about all this from a business standpoint? So, tickets aren't on sale yet. Already, there have been 12,000 applications for pre-sale codes. That is insane. So the Young Bucks claim that this building is going to be calibrated for 14,000 people. It could potentially go up to 20,000. That is mental. That shows that the hype for this has nowhere near come close to even peaking. The fact that they could potentially draw 20,000 in Las Vegas, a boxing and MMA town, is great. It's insane.
But it's even like a microcosm of this is when they were making this announcement yesterday, and I was reading about it on Twitter about the amount of people who turned up early and to like block out areas to sit.
Yeah.
It was like Germans with their beach towels. They were shotgunning up seats everywhere, all in their AEW gear, hours and hours and hours before this announcement made. This is not a small-time promotion.
No, it's not. I mean, it's important for us to kind of temper expectations a little bit, because ultimately none of this really means anything unless they get a good TV deal. And to get a good TV deal, they are going to need, like we've just said, major stars. They're going to need a CM Punk or a Goldberg. They're going to need someone on that level, but everything coming out of this at the moment feels incredibly positive. This talk that they're about to score the biggest TV deal, non-WWE TV deal since WCW, is mental. At a time when we're widely assuming that there's no market for wrestling, no one has an appetite for wrestling from a TV network standpoint. I mean, I think a combination of this and the ridiculous WWE $1 billion TV deal kind of prove that's nonsense. What a time to be a wrestling fan, man. It's just so exciting.
Basically, don't organise anything in the evening after about, well, Mondays, Tuesdays, Fridays going forward.
Yeah.
It's just going to be brilliant
And
wrestling.
Thursday if you're an NXT fan.
Oh, God.
What the hell are we going to have?
Bugenhagen.
Bugenhagen. Bow, bow, bow.
But
anyway.
there is one more big name that could be going to AEW.
Yes, there is. And do you want to say his name in the Bugen voice? Bugenhagen voice? Kota
Ibushi!
Kota Ibushi. Now, to be fair, this one comes from Cage Side Seats. Disclaimer, they do not include a source.
They just hope it happens.
Yeah, they were just like, hey, maybe Kota Ibushi will show up. They claim that it's expected he will join the promotion. No surprises there, really. Kota Ibushi is currently suffering from a concussion-sustained wrestling Will Ospreay at Wrestle Kingdom 13. He needs to recover and get cleared from that before he can do anything. But he is obviously very closely connected with Kenny Omega and indeed the Young Bucks. He's worked with Cody as well. This won't be a huge surprise. The guy is a true freelancer in every sense of the word. This guy never signs full-time contracts. He turned WWE down. He has not signed a major full-time New Japan deal. He works there without a contract on an appearance basis. He loves personal freedom. The rumor coming out of Japan is that his mum and dad are just really rich, so he doesn't need to work for some full-time company. That might be bollocks. But either way, Ibushi, one of the best wrestlers in the world, a guy who catches the eye with everything he does. He would be a tremendous addition to this roster, and you've got to imagine it'll be a non-exclusive deal as well, given his history.
But yeah, and another great name to add to that roster. A lot of excitement around AEW. I know people say, you're just talking about AEW, you're not talking about WWE, but if there was a day just to talk about AEW, it's today.
We should mention that yesterday WWE released record revenue figures, but small fry.
Let's move on to today's Twitter questions. Don't forget you can tweet them at us at WhatCultureWWE. Let's start with at GameRiff on Twitter, who says the matches and storytelling in NXT are worlds better than WWE. What about NXT's formula doesn't translate to Raw and SmackDown? Where is the disconnect?
Different product for a different audience. I think, for all we love NXT, and I think us as kind of I hate to use the term internet wrestling community because it's almost meaningless, but we are in a bubble. We really are. You notice that when certain NXT people come up to the main roster, they don't necessarily get a reaction because a lot of people don't know who they are. I think a lot of people just don't watch NXT. It is for a smaller audience. It is a serious, old school, traditional style wrestling product. It has been a bit more soap opera-y in the last year with the Whodunit and all the Johnny Gargano stuff. But I just think it's catered to that cult audience. I'm not too sure it's translatable to the main roster.
When I was watching Raw and SmackDown, before I properly got into NXT, I feel like I was a bit of an example of what the audience was like, because I'd hear people buzzing about, oh my God, this guy's coming up from NXT. And even though I'd be like, oh, that's exciting, when they got there, you still want to be like, right, who's this person? So they need to re-establish the character. And B, why should I care?
Yeah.
A perfect example of this was Kevin Owens. I wasn't a big NXT fan when Kevin Owens was doing what he was doing with Sami Zayn and stuff. The arrival he had on Monday Night Raw, where they said, you should care about this guy. He's NXT champion. He came out, he basically told John Cena where to go. He pop-up powerbombed him. He put his foot on the belt. That is the sort of arrival they needed. They can't rely, as you said, as much as the internet will be buzzing about a Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa going up to the main roster, they need to re-establish that. And I think you're right. It's not anyone's fault. It's just the casual nature of fans.
It's a niche product for a niche audience. The main roster is a wider, more sanitized product for a wider, more sanitized audience. And to wrap that up, just look at the crowd reactions that Aleister Black and Johnny Gargano got in the Royal Rumble. Weren't anywhere near on the level that us, as NXT fans, might expect.
Exactly. Let's move on next to Matt Rubin, who has a question about AEW. He says, how should AEW handle their first heavyweight championship? A King of the Ring style tournament, he suggests?
Yeah, I'd like a tournament. I love tournaments. I think something like a Battle Royal is quite cheap, because it's you just win a belt by throwing a bunch of guys over a top rope. It's kind of whack. A tournament would be awesome. And whether that's a knockout or a G1 style round robin type thing, that would be cool. That would be different actually, because WWE obviously do a lot of knockout tournaments these days. It'd be great to see them try that. Maybe a block of 10 wrestlers, or 2 blocks of 5, they all wrestle each other once, the 2 block leaders then meet in the final. Or, they could just book Kenny Omega versus Jericho for the belt. I mean,
you could do that. I think it's one of those where we've watched a lot of WWE so influenced with this, but if you're launching a new TV show and you want people to watch, putting 10 of your best wrestlers fighting each other week in and week out with maybe a build to the 2 best facing off on pay-per-view, it's a WWE trope. but also it's a great way to establish everyone. Everyone can get their stuff in.
Yeah.
And if it's not directly knockout, like you say, if it's a round robin, then it's not just like this guy wins, these other guys are just losers, basically.
And to me, the first champion should be Kenny Omega, holds it for 9 to 12 months, dethroned by Hangman Page.
Strong. Final question for today, and you're going to need this, Andy, for this. I was going to make us some tinfoil hats, but unfortunately, we haven't got any tinfoil in the office, so instead we've got packets of crisps. So you're going to smell of knickknacks for the rest of today. But anyway,
this isn't.
Our tweet comes. Oh, that fixed quite nicely on your head.
I'm getting paid to do this.
Our tweet comes from Erskine Childers, who says, "Just watched the news and had a thought. What if all this weird, disjointed reporting is an attempt to find the leak? I mean, would the Usos leave really? Does Styles have a hernia? Maybe there's something huge in the works, and they need to ensure it doesn't get out. That's why we've got our conspiracy hats on.
I
like that as a theory.
I like it. I mean, I think it's entirely possible. We've heard all kinds of wacky stories coming out of WWE over the past few weeks and months. What the hell is this thing on my head? Things like the hernia, like, I think that might just innocently. Why have I still got mine on? I think that might be relatively innocent. I think someone's maybe sold Meltzer or whoever reported it first up a river there. People jumping to conclusions and so forth. But with stuff like the Usos, one thing that I think gets lost in all of this is that we can't assume things like loyalty. Like, we assume these guys are lifers. But here's the thing, these guys have never performed in an industry that's had competition before. They've been with WWE throughout their lifespan. It's been a monopoly. There's been no choice. You work here and make good money, or you go elsewhere and you have to deal with the compromises. So I love the conspiracy theory. I think it's really interesting, and I would love it if there was a leak. Can you imagine watching the world burn if it came out that Shane McMahon was somehow secretly involved in this and they did some kind of simulcast? That'd be weird. What do you think?
Yeah, I think there could be some substance to this. I think it's a good test. I'm more annoyed by the fact that in making these hats, I discovered that we got only 7 pieces of Monster Munch in a packet of Monster Munch, right?
Yep.
And I was saying this to Phil, saying this is outrageous. And Phil said that's like a bumper edition of Monster Munch. There goes the can. Only not. Anyway, we're getting off topic here. I think it'd be fantastic.
Sorry.
It's really interesting, and I reckon there could be some substance to it. Let's move on to today's, and finally, thank you to everyone who's been sending me more crap action figures. I love receiving them. If you want to send them here, and we'll put them on a shelf along with the fingered wrestlers that Andy Murray was talking about earlier on.
Speaking of action figures, a quick thank you to literally about the 12 or 15 people that informed me the purpose of those. I think there's one over there, I can't reach it. The holes in the bums are indeed for your funds. So
that's what it's there
thanks
for.
to all those people.
Anyway, today's and finally is another crap action figure. All you have to do, Andy Murray, is look at this and tell me who it is. Who's that?
Oh my goodness.
It looks fairly obvious.
What?
We're starting zoomed in on his face. I look at that and I think,
is it
the COO?
Yeah, it's Triple H, right?
And you would think that, but of course you would be wrong. It's Fandango.
No, it's not.
He's got Fandango's flowing open shirt, so it feels like maybe they've just stuck the wrong head on it.
I mean, like, Fandango's a sexy, sexy man. That action figure is not it looks like a kind of melted Bobby Roode. Day one is indeed H.
Let us know your thoughts on that and all of today's news stories in the comments section below. And if you want to send us any more weird action figures that you can stick your fingers into, you can tweet them at us at WhatCulture WWE, or you can tweet at Andy Murray at
Andy H. Murray.
Tweet at me at Adam Wilborn.
The H stands for honourable.
You can tweet at our lovely editor at Phil My Chambers. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you check out What Culture Wrestling podcast by searching for What Culture Wrestling on either iTunes or Spotify. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thanks to the Boogs Cruise. Thanks to Monster Munch. Thank you for watching, and we will see you soon.
Biscuit meeting?
Biscuit meeting. Now!